Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, the point of today's video is to compare handwritten notes versus digital notes. And my handwritten notes, my plain paper notes, I swear by them. You guys know how much I love them. But I recently got a tablet, and so I started to think about making digital notes, and I have tried it. I now have a bit of an idea as to how it works, the digital note making thing. So this video is just going to be a big old comparison. I'm going to try and compare handwritten notes with digital notes. I'm going to compare them using lots of different factors or attributes, and hopefully it will give you a good idea as to what might work best for you. Everything is personal preference, you know. I am also very biased because I have been handwriting my notes for like the majority of my life, or for the majority of the time I've been studying. It's literally only been very recently when I've started to use Les tablets. Okay, so as I do in these kind of videos to help you guys along, and if you want to jump to different sections, I'm going to leave timestamps down below. And yeah, if you do enjoy this video, definitely like it, comment down below, subscribe, hit the bell, share it if you think somebody else would enjoy this video. And yeah, we just firstly need to like set the scene. So with my plain paper notes, my handwritten notes, as I said, they have been my go-to. I do have a video which I made on my channel quite a while back now about how I make them. It's really comprehensive, and everything pretty much still holds, so I will link that on the screen or down below. But if you are interested, I might do like an updated version, like how I increase the efficiency of note making and writing your notes out by hand, and how I do it really quite quickly with the tablet though, and the digital note making, because that's new. That's very new for me. I've had a bit of experience, as I said, but it's still quite fresh. Coming towards the end of my degree, when I saw how big my folders were and when I saw how much paper I used when studying, I kind of started to think about like digital note making, and I was like, you know, it looked quite cool. The prospect of making digital notes, I was like, oh, I could try that. I could look like a cool tech person, right? It would be really easy to organize everything, all my notes in one place. I could take it with me, and you know, they look really cool. Like the aesthetic can be like so insane. I sometimes see digital notes, I'm like, wow, that's honestly amazing. And like a big thing is that you use so much less paper, and so yeah, I was like, it looks really quite appealing to me, so I really wanted to try it. So this is my tablet here. It is a Microsoft Surface Pro 7. I was very kindly gifted it by Microsoft themselves, and I was like, sorry, what? Before this, I was thinking about either getting an iPad or a tablet from like Microsoft, and then when Microsoft reached out, I was kind of like, I can't say no, but you know, this is what we're working with. Okay, so Les tablet, oh, I just turned it on. Sorry, we're still not too great with this thing. So yeah, detachable keyboard. See, easy. And then it came with the stylus. It also came with a mouse thing. But anyways, obviously there is so much more you can do on a tablet, but I am going to be focusing on like note taking, simply note taking for this video. Okay, let me just show you. Okay, one sec. Face ID. Right, hi. Okay, let's just close this down. Emily kind of helped me set this up, basically. Emily is my sister who didn't know. Oops, sorry. Notifications are pinging in. Stop. I'm also not too familiar with using like Microsoft as a software. Like, I'm very used to Apple stuff, so like I don't know how to turn off the notifications. Emily put this whiteboard app on the iPad. Oops. Blinds. I literally think it's called Whiteboard. Microsoft Whiteboard. This is what Emily put on initially, and then I also got, what's this? OneNote. Oh, hello. Blinds! Ruin my lighting. There are so many like note-taking apps. I was like, we're just gonna try one. So yeah, I have OneNote and then this whiteboard thing. Those are the two apps I'm gonna be talking about or showing you. Okay, so we're now gonna officially start with the comparison, okay? And if there are any other things you want to add to this video, feel free to comment them down below as well. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is ease of writing. How easy is it basically to write on the tablet compared to on paper? So with the tablet, we're going to start with the tablet every time because it's the new thing. So as I said, you have this stylus that comes with the tablet, and yeah, it's really smooth. I really like the fact that you have an eraser on the other side, so you literally just like can rub things out as if it's like a pencil, but it's not even a pencil or a pen. It's a stylus, right? I don't even know, I'm not a tech whiz, but anyways, you just like write really easily. Oops, what's going on? So, you know, I think you might have to replace the tips, but it's not as if you have to like sharpen a pencil, or like it won't run out of ink if you're using like a biro or a fountain pen, you know? Some of the things I'm not too keen on though are the fact that when you use the ruler, you have to like fiddle around with making sure it's the right angle, and sometimes that can take a bit of time. I'm just like, I literally just want to whack out a ruler, position it and go. I thought there would have been a way for you to like draw a line and then automatically convert it into a straight line instead of having to get out the ruler, but you can't do that on the Surface. I'm not too sure on other like tablets or devices and stuff. The one odd thing that I have experienced, I don't know if it is just me, it might literally just be me, you can obviously like rest your hand against the screen when you're writing. I can't remember what that's called, but like it won't sense that or pick it up or smudge anything, so that's really good. Like there's no smudging, but like I sometimes get this weird sensation in my hand. It almost feels like, I don't know, it's not like static electricity, but it just feels a bit weird, and I often get that if I've been using it for quite a long time. So I'm just throwing that out there because I picked up on it, but I don't know whether it's just me or if it's a more universal thing. Other than that, it's really easy to write on the tablet. However, nothing literally beats hand writing something. There's something about writing, physically writing something down on paper that to me, I don't think you can ever replicate. I just personally love it, like picking up a pen and putting ink to paper. I really like that. I find it satisfying. I think it's very unique. I am just gonna say as a little disclaimer, because some of you have asked me this and I try and reply where I can, but basically these two, the black and the green, they're Bic pens. Literally, I do not buy any more Bic pens, okay, because they're not vegan, they test on animals. We've been through this in the past, but basically I just keep finding more Bic pens in my drawers. They divide, I don't even know, but when we run out, I will not be getting Bic pens anymore. So the second thing we're going to talk about is aesthetic. How good do these notes look? Making digital notes is so versatile. You think of any color, you can use that color if you want it in your notes, even like a rainbow colored pen. I personally don't use a lot of colors when I'm making handwritten notes, and so I don't really mind that there's loads of colors because my notes are very minimalistic. I don't use a lot of color in them. But yeah, you can also avoid basically any mistake because you can rub things out, as I said, with the eraser on the top of this stylus, or you can just undo things, and you know, they look so impressive. Like digitalized notes can look insanely good and so professional. Moving on to my handwritten notes, comparing like their aesthetic. As I said, I use very few colors. I literally use black mostly. I use a bit of blue, green, and then red as well sometimes. Whilst they may not look as impressive sort of thing, I do still think they look fine. It's not as if I'm framing them. In the past, with handwritten notes, when I was so determined to make everything perfect, like I used to Tipp-Ex things out, or I used to use my ink eraser and make sure there was nothing rubbed out or crossed out. I just couldn't have mistakes on the page. Whereas now I really think that having a mistake is a good thing, because when you cross it out, you can kind of see what you were going to write, or you can think back to when you made that mistake and you're like, oh no, it's not this, it's actually this instead, and it helps you like remember it. So I think mistakes, even though they might not look so good, they can actually be really good in terms of like revising information and learning stuff and recalling what you were learning. Okay, so the next thing we're going to consider is speed. Like, how long does it take to make handwritten notes compared to digitalized notes? For me, I have found that it does take me a bit longer to make the digital notes, maybe because I'm not used to it. I haven't done it for as long, and because I'm not used to like using the ruler and changing colors and stuff, but it does take time. I think you can get quite quick at it. They do have like really cool little like hacks and features that increase the speed at which you can make notes. For example, like they have the ink to shape feature where you like, for example, draw a circle and then it will make it into a perfect circle for you, or like a square or something, which is really cool. They have a table feature on the whiteboard thing where you can draw a table roughly and then it corrects it for you. You can also convert your written stuff into actual text. Maybe it's because my handwriting isn't as clear sometimes, but it doesn't often get it entirely correct. You can also like copy in images from the internet into your digitalized notes, which you obviously can't do with like plain paper notes. You'd have to print something out and stick it with glue, which I'm just not up for doing. Also, like on the tablet, if you want to move something around, you can draw a box around it and then just like move it, whereas with plain paper notes you can't do that. If you're not careful, you might end up with like lines or arrows or asterisks everywhere over your page because you haven't organized it as well. Whereas with like a tablet, if you do that, you can just move things around. So the fourth thing I wanted to talk about was basically how easy is it to remember notes that are handwritten versus those that are digitalized. I obviously haven't really tried this. I haven't had the opportunity to try making digital notes and then learn from them and then be tested on it, sort of thing. However, I do see a big issue. Like, I just don't think I could ever properly revise from digital notes entirely. I have a few reasons why. I actually have made a video about this with my plain paper notes, say some here. Part of me being able to remember these notes involves like picturing what's written on the page and then thinking about where information is on that page when I'm trying to retrieve it. I have to be able to visualize and like almost take a photograph of this page. And also, as I said before, I kind of almost think back to the process of making those notes. Like, if I made a mistake, I kind of try and remember that. I pick up on that. Okay, and then with the digital notes then, basically I think it's really cool that you can basically never run out of space. Like, you can always keep expanding your page, you know, and write anywhere. But I have a big issue with that, because if I keep zooming out, everything will just become a blur and I will not be able to visualize everything entirely. It will just be so overwhelming. An A4 piece of paper, it's a finite amount of space. Like, that information is there, I'm capturing that in my mind, whereas with the digital notes I just can't remember that. And also now thinking back to what I've made on a digital note, like, I just can't remember anything. I can't remember the process, and I just remember me getting frustrated with the ruler, and that's not going to be helpful for me because I can't remember what I was actually writing about. And that's not going to be for everyone, but I just personally don't think I can use them to revise from as well. And also, I just prefer revising from something on paper versus it being on a screen. Organization of notes basically is number 5. Both are really good, I think, in terms of organization, to be honest with you. So with the tablet, on OneNote you have like notebooks, and then you add different sections, and then you add pages within those sections, so it's like hierarchically organized. It's organized in a hierarchical manner. And then with like handwritten notes, I have them all organized into folders, and then I use dividers and stuff. I don't really know what to call this one, but I did want to throw it in there because I do think it's quite important. I do value this. Okay, I'm just gonna say my eyesight. A lot of what I do, and I think a lot of what we all do these days, is we look at screens. Our lives are literally lived through screens, which sometimes is really bad. But you know, I care about my eyesight, okay? If I can avoid looking at a screen, I will do it, because I'm just so fed up of looking at a screen sometimes. It often might give me a headache. I get it like at the front of my head here, and I know that it's because I've been staring at a screen for too long. And so if you're always making digital notes, you can't avoid looking at that screen. Okay, convenience. I think again, they're both quite similar. Actually, there are some twists. The tablet, like, you can just whack out the tablet. It's really easy. You don't need loads of pens. You just need one stylus. Bam, you're ready to go. You know, it's really, really convenient with the tablet. You'd have to carry around paper in a folder and maybe like a pencil case with like your stationery and stuff. So you do have to maybe carry around a bit more. I would say with the tablet, something that is not so convenient is when it runs out of battery. The battery life on this thing is actually really good, and that's why I don't look at it a lot, but it runs out of battery. Okay, it means you have to charge it. It means you have to get out a wire. Like, if you're in a lecture and it dies, like, what are you gonna do? If you're not near a plug socket, what are you gonna do? Maybe not right now because we're in lockdown and everything is like online, but you're kind of screwed in that situation. These things have a battery life. Paper doesn't have that. Okay, you might run out of paper actually, but if you make sure you have enough, should be fine. Related to that, portability. How portable are these notes? The tablet is very portable. You can take it anywhere. I put it in its sleeve, and you know, you just put it in your bag and you're good to go. Everything, all of your notes will be in one place, whether that's all on OneNote or, you know, a different app that you might use. Everything is literally in this. You see this tiny thin thing? Whereas with like paper handwritten notes, my folders are huge, like so fat. I definitely would not take my whole folder. I'd have to like take a section or something, or take a few notes out at a time, so you can't carry all of them around with you if you have a lot. In that case, the tablet definitely wins. Okay, moving on to my biggest issue, I think, with the tablet. I don't know if it's my biggest issue, but it is a big issue. Safety. Losing notes would be, I don't even know. It would not be the end of the world, but like, I would be very, very upset. There would be tears, there would be outrage. I wouldn't get over it very quickly, let's just say that. Losing notes is just a big no-no for me. I do have trust issues with the tablet. With both the apps that I've used, the Whiteboard and OneNote, they've both had like issues with like linking to the cloud, errors loading something because I'm not connected, and I'm just so worried that things won't be backed up, I will lose things, and that really worries me. You can link OneNote to the cloud, but I just don't know if I'm fully linked. Like, I think I connected it, but I don't trust the fact that my stuff is safely stored in the cloud. Like, what happens if my cloud just like disappears one day? Like, because everything is in one place, like that's so good and so convenient in terms of organization and stuff, but like what happens if that just poofs and just disappears, right? What is gonna happen? Whereas with the plain paper notes, I feel like it's very low risk. Okay, for me, it's low risk. If you know what you're doing and you set it up correctly, you should be fine. Because like any kind of electronic digital system, there is that risk that you lose things. But at the moment, I just don't really trust it. I'm really sorry, tablet. Distractions, like how easy is it to get distracted? I do think it's easier to get distracted if you're making notes on a tablet. At the moment, as I said at the start, like I don't know how to turn off these notifications on the tablet. Like they ping in from YouTube, they ping in from my emails, and I don't know how to shut it down. With like one click, you can like be on the internet, you can be on Google Chrome. Next minute, oh, look, there it is saved in my favorites, go on YouTube. Oh, what should we search for? It's quite easy, I think, to be distracted if you're not careful with it. Whereas with the plain paper notes, even though I may be watching a lecture, which is on my MacBook, or copying something from a screen, because there is that kind of separation, I just don't feel it's as easy for you to get distracted and for you to jump on something else and just lose focus with the note making. Okay, the final thing we need to talk about, cost. Obviously, a tablet and iPad is going to be more expensive than buying paper. Yes, it will be a big one-time investment, like it's a lot more expensive to buy a tablet or an iPad. Maybe you sometimes have to replace the tips of your stylus versus like investing in paper and folders and maybe dividers. You also have to think about the fact that you might be investing in this tablet or this iPad to not only make notes but to do other things on it, because as I said at the start, you can do so many other things on a tablet. It's not just designed to make notes on. So yeah, you have to just weigh things up and see if it's for you and see if you want to try it and give it a go. But yeah, that's your personal decision to make basically. So yeah, that is basically my entire comparison. To sum everything up, I would say that without a doubt I do prefer handwriting my notes. I don't think I will ever make the complete transition to making digital notes entirely, but I do just want to say that the tablet will be very useful for me, because if you watch my vlogs, you'll have seen me use the tablet. As I talked about in my big like recent revision video, which I can link on the screen down below, I have to like scribble things down when I'm learning and revising and trying to get things in my head. I will scribble things down on paper and just see how much I can learn, and that is so important and crucial as part of my like learning process. When I'm using a tablet, I'm basically using it not to make notes from like lectures and stuff, but I'm using it to revise essentially. I'm not wasting paper, I don't have to get scrap paper, I can just scribble things down and then delete it, and that is how I'm going to be using my tablet mostly. Obviously for other things, but in the study kind of realm, that is how I'm using my tablet, and I think it's so good for doing that. So yeah, it's not like note taking per se, but it's more like revision. Overall, I hope this was useful, enjoyable. Remember to give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and yeah, I will speak to you very soon in another video. Bye!